Lighthouses like the one on Chincoteague Island serve as a beacon of hope to sailors looking for land.
But lighthouses in the water, like this one in Cambridge, warn sailors of shoals, sandy underwater mounds that could cause disaster. The Screwpile Lighthouse is an icon of the Chesapeake Bay thanks to a blind Irishman. You heard right. So we're going to let the Secrets of the Eastern Shore author Jim Duffy explain this one in our Throwback Thursday. Thanks for being here, as always.
Thank you.
So I guess running aground, that was a real dangerous situation.
So we're back in the early 1800s here, and they didn't have the technology to put lighthouses out in the middle of the water.
Right.
They could put them on the land, but there are a lot of dangers out in the middle of the water too, and a lot of reasons, whether it's fog or sandy shoals or whatever. And it was a big problem for shipping and business and passengers and tourism and everything else, the fact that they couldn't get navigational aids out there.
So what was, I mean, because they couldn't plant it on the bottom, they couldn't anchor it down?
Yeah, they didn't have the technology to kind of build a firm foundation for it.
Oh.
So the ground down there can be really soft. So it's kind of like the biblical thing about the house made on a foundation of sand.
It's going to shift.
They couldn't. It's going to shift, and it's going to fly.
So enter Alexander Mitchell.
Born 1780, tough childhood. Ended up getting smallpox as a young boy. Survived, but it cost him his eyesight. He couldn't read by the age of 16. He was completely blind in his early 20s. And he did not let this stop him one bit in life. He became a brickmaker, formed his own company, was hugely successful, built houses. This is all in Belfast, Ireland, became kind of a housing developer. Retired rich and early at the age of 52, became a big socialite. He always had musicians and artists all drinking themselves silly over at his house. Yeah.
Wait a minute, where then did the lighthouse come into all that story?
We all know people who take on like a retirement project, you know?
Yeah.
They like, I'm gonna change this about my town, or I'm gonna do that. So he retires early at the age of 52 with a boatload of money, and he decides, I'm gonna fix this lighthouse problem. So he gets two bits of inspiration that help him figure out how to do this. And you know, the Screwpile Lighthouses have those metal legs going down in the ground and the cute little cottage up on top. So he's out sailing with his son. He has a problem in the boat. It's a little day sailor, and they unscrew the sail and they plant it in the ground while he's working on the boat, because he needs to work there, right? Then the wind kicks up. And when he gets done working on the boat, they can't get the sail. Because the wind kicked up and screwed it down.
into the ground.
Oh my goodness.
And the second one I mentioned, he was a big socialite, and they're always drinking wine in his house. Simple as can be, the way a corkscrew works versus like a nail.
And
those are his two bits of inspiration that got him started.
And he saw it.
So he comes up with this idea, he develops this plan, nobody believes him, they all think he's crazy. It takes 10 years before somebody gives it a shot, and they do. And he ended up building the first two lighthouses, one by Manchester, one by London. And then 10 years later, this had come across the sea, and the very first Screwpile Lighthouse went up in the Delaware Bay, Brandywine Shoal, it's called. And then there were dozens and dozens in the Chesapeake Bay, and today, of course, it's the iconic symbol of the bay.
Yeah.
But apparently that's not the end of the story.
No, it's not. Those lighthouses the foundation technology came along, so they changed and they went away. But the technology that he used is now called the helical design. If you see electronic transmission tower,
Right.
that's Screwpile Lighthouse. If you see in pipelines underground, in order to keep them stable, they like strap them in and then they screw things into the sandy ground. They're used when you're building decks. They're used when you're building houses. I came across this professor of engineering who said most engineers don't even realize how important this Screwpile technology was, and that it was the major building technology of the 1800s and really kind of changed the world.
And they all have a blind Irishman to thank.
Absolutely.
Whose boat went around the sail.
Yeah. Oh, another great story from
Amazing.
Jim Duffy. Thank you so much.